Yellow ladies, gentlemen, judges, distinguished guests of honor, and my fellow people. Welcome to another episode of Couch Conversations.
Yellow, come on. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to couch conversation where we talk about God, He, or in any nation. So don't get it twisted. Christ out of center, you know we ain't like any other pages. Oh, inspired by the word. Jesus, Son of God. Of course, what we saying be making all the senses. Have a seat, get a drink, listen close, get your notes. God's got a word, you know.
We ain't sleeping those.
Oh, get prepared, open your mind, shut the door, shut the crowd. You're here for Jesus.
So are we, so here's a couch.
Settle down, let it flow, share your mind.
Let the conversations go.
We started with God, so we gotta end with Him. Take a seat, press play, and join in.
Hey, couch conversations. Couch conversations.
Right, so welcome to the second episode of Couch Conversations. I really hope you enjoyed the first one. I really hope you liked it. This is episode 2. Yay, hallelujah, glory to God. And today we're going to be talking about something that I feel, not just I feel, okay, something that God laid on our hearts to talk about. And another thing that I feel that is very important in this day and age that we are in. We're going to be talking about idols. Drum roll, please. Thanks. Idols. I know where your mind is going to. Anyhow, fun. Idols how? Idols where? I don't worship a calabash. I don't have a stone carved image in my bedroom. I don't have an altar where I keep, beads and cowries and whatnot that I pray to every day. I worship God. Why are you talking to me about idols? I mean, girl, please. I'm past that. But yes, you might not be worshipping stones, you might not be worshipping rocks, you might not be worshipping whatever it is that is the general definition of an idol or whatever it is that comes to your mind when you first think of an idol. But there are other things that you can be worshipping that is an idol. There are other things that can be in your life that are idols and that you don't know. So first, to let you know, we have to first define what an idol is. And as always, I'm here with my notes and the Bible. So basically, what is an idol? An idol is an image or representation of a god used as an object of worship. That is like the general definition of an idol. It is something that you take and, some people can literally worship this bottle and call it, their idol or something like that. But there is this other one I saw that I just loved, so I wrote it down. Oh my aggressive. A person or a thing that is greatly admired, loved, or revered. A person or a thing. Basically, an idol can be anything. An idol doesn't necessarily have to be one scary looking thing that you see in Yoruba movies. No, it can be anything or anyone. So anything that you worship, that you revere, that is greatly admired, that you place as like the highest in your life is an idol. That is what it is. So what does God say about idols, right? Number one, the Bible tells us that the God that we serve is a very jealous God. And rightfully so. Because tell me why you have that much power, that much authority. You created these people and yet they do not want to worship you. They want to worship other things that they created. I don't know, but in my very opinion, the whole idea of idolatry and idol making is just very silly. It doesn't make sense. And while you might not know it's something that you're easily susceptible to, especially in this day and age. It's something that you can easily fall for. Because, like I said before, our God is a jealous God. Because yourself, if you give back now to a child and you see that child liking somebody else more than you, for what? For why? Am I not the one that carried you in my belly for 9 months and you're liking somebody? For some ladies, actually, I'm in no right position to say this thing as I'm not married, don't have a child of my own. But like for some ladies, even if the child is giving the father more admiration or love, not even go far to child boyfriend. If your boyfriend is giving or girlfriend or fiancé or engager or I don't know, is giving someone more attention than you, your head go dey wire and spark. Yeah, like if you can be that territorial I don't want to say territorial or possessive, or maybe not possessive. But if you can be that with another person, now imagine God who created you for one reason, to have a relationship with Him, to fellowship with Him, to worship Him. You know, worshiping somebody else, you know, go jealous qua. For why? Me say I go jealous pa. So yes, God is very jealous God because these are people that He created. You understand? So you're not worshiping somebody else. And I think what is more annoying about this idol of a thing is in the hierarchy of things. In the hierarchy of things, after God is man. That is the hierarchy of things in this world. God has the dominion, power, and authority, and He gave it to you. You can better understand this if you watch the first video. So go and watch it. But the most mind-boggling thing is man, human beings, and Homo sapiens will now go form something out of the things they are meant to be dominating, out of the things that is even meant to be of use and of service to them, make it and mold it and start worshiping it. How? Like, in what world does that make sense? Which is just annoying. Now, for us to better understand this thing, we need to understand what does it mean to even worship. Like, what does it mean? Okay, you're talking about any idols, this. What does it mean to actually worship an idol? So, basically, the definition of worship is to show a lot of love and admiration for something. To have or show a strong feeling of respect and admiration for God or a God, small letter G, and that's from like the Cambridge Dictionary. So when you have a strong feeling of respect, you have admiration, you know, you show reverence to that thing. Basically, what that thing says stands is when you're worshiping a thing. To worship, apart from like singing songs, praises, I worship you, apart from all that, to in the English word dictionary thing, to worship is to show reverence, to show love, to show admiration. You know, us singing songs and praises and all those things is a form of worship, not worship in itself. So worship is showing reverence, is showing love, admiration. There was another definition I saw that when you're worshiping a thing, you tend to put it in the highest esteem. You know, you tend to put it in on the highest shelf. Whatever it is you worship, that's what goes basically. So when we worship idols, we place those things on the highest pedestal. We place it on the highest thing. And that is what God doesn't want. In the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 4, it says, "You shall not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water and under the earth. For you shall not bow down to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third generation, fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing mercy to thousands to those who love me and keep my commandments." The Lord is telling us that you shall have no other gods before Him. You shall not make yourself a carved image. You shall have nothing else before God, and rightfully so. Like we said before, God is the highest standard. God should be your highest standard. You know how there are some people that whatever this person says in their life, that's what goes. They don't want to hear whatever anybody else has to say. That's what goes. That's how God should be in your life. Whatever God says is what should go. But in this time and age, we might not necessarily have carved things, figurines, or whatever it is that we worship, but there are other things in our lives that are there, that are serving as idols that you and I don't even know about. And it's very crazy because God doesn't like this. Because so basically, what are those things in your life that are idols that you just don't know about it? The thing is, idols, you know, like we said before, it can be either a person or a thing. The thing about idolatry is anything or any person you place above God is who you worship. Like we said, worshiping someone is the worship is basically you putting something on the highest pedestal. So anything that you can take and put above God is an idol in your life. Some of you is people, God will tell you do this, but because your pastor said do that, that's what you're gonna go and do. That is an idol in your life. And before we jump, yes, there are some instances where you do these things and you know it's out of you didn't know, or out of you weren't thinking about it, it just happened, reflex, God said to do this, or maybe you forgot or anything, but your pastor says you should do that one instead. There's sometimes that where it's mistakes. where it's not something done intentionally, but there are some that it is done consecutively. Anything done consecutively over and over again is an habit. Anything that is an habit, it means it is a part of you. So basically, some of you are done it over and over. You're so used to putting people and their opinions and their suggestions and their everything over God that it has come to your way of life. Because an habit done over and over again basically is your way of life. So you have done it like your way of life. So some of you, people are your idols. Your friend is your idol. And for them to become an idol in your life is anytime you place them above God. How do I do this? How am I placing people above God? Basically, when whatever you do counteracts the instruction of God. The way you can place things above other things depends on the amount of reverence you give that thing, right? The way you can place people or other things above God in your life, when you follow them instead of following God, when you follow what they say instead of following what God said you should say. Clear example: God gave you an instruction, yet it's the instruction of men you are following. You have placed them above God. Basically, you have given them more ruling over God in your life. I don't know if you get. So, like I said, people can be your idols. So you need to check yourself. When they say I should do something and God say I should do something, who do I follow the most? Who do I always go after? Who do I listen to? You get? Who do I run to? Are you get what I'm saying? Because basically, if you're the type of person that anytime something happens, you always run to your husband first, or you always run to your pastor, your parents, anybody first before seeking God's help or seeking God's advice, you are more likely to make them an idol over you. You are more likely to put them above God because in you worshiping God, it means God should be your first point of contact. With you serving God, having a relationship with Him, making Him the highest above all things in your life, it means that the first person you should run to should be God and not man. But if you're the type of person that every time something happens, every time you need an advice, every time you need this, the first person you run to is the thing that has control over you, is the idol in your life. For some people, it's trends. Like trends. God can say, baby girl, start this business. But then you're like, but that my YouTuber said that. You see that woman, you said that my YouTuber said that. And then you follow that YouTuber that said that. And then you continue following the YouTuber that said that. Automatically become an idol. You have literally placed that person in a pedestal that even that God cannot tell you otherwise. God said, do this thing, do that. But the trends are doing this. But the trend is going this way. God, the way you're telling me to go is opposite the trends. For some of you, it's the trends, the things that are going on in life, the things that are happening. You don't know, but like we said, an idol is a person or a thing. People, trends are the things that are actually, idols in your life. They are things that you have put above God, that no matter what God says, you will still follow it. Those things are idols in some people's lives. I know that I've already said people can be idols, but just to make it clear, it's your family, it's your husband. Some people, it's your children. They are the idols in your life. God can say, my dear darling daughter, my dear darling son, I need you to go into so aspect of ministry or anything, or I'm calling you to go here, I'm calling you to go there, I'm calling you to travel here to speak to some kind of people, and you're like, I can't do that, God. What will happen to my children? What will happen to this? What will happen to that? My children are this, my children are that. You have placed them above God. They are your idols. The Bible tells us, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your soul. Yes, He's the first person you should love. That means He's the first person you should worship. He's the first person you should reverence. Not your children, not man, not husband. No. Another thing that people reverence is work. Your work is your idol. The fact that you don't want to get late to work, or you're busy, or you're this, you cannot even read your Bible for 2 minutes in a day. Work has dominated your life so much that God has no area, no say in it. Nothing. Like, it takes up so much of your time, it takes up so much of your thinking space, it takes so much of everything that you have placed it above God. I know that these things might not look like a lot, they might not look like the natural conventional things, but anything you place above God is an idol. And some of you, it's your bosses that are your idols. You're so empowered and motivated. Look at her. She's so this, she's so that, so independent. She's so majestic. He's so this. He came from nothing. He built the foundation. He did this. He's that. So whatever your boss says you cannot get married this week. It's next week you're going to get married. You will get married next week. It might be sounding funny, but many people are in strongholds because of this. They are in strongholds because they have put these things that seem relatively normal, that seem like that's just the norm. Normally you should respect your boss, you should listen to what they say, but not above what God is telling you to. And yes, I'm talking taking it to the extreme, but for some of you it's little by little. It's small, small. And for some of you, it's money. Your finances. Wherever the money goes is where you go. That is you. You are chasing after the mammon. For some it's the money. You have placed money so much so above God that you know you if anything sounds like loss to you, like money there will be debits, or and it's not debits that will rake in more funds, you are doing nothing about it. And let me give you a practical example of how money can be for you. God says give to the poor, give to the needy. For you, because you have this such mentality that you only sow money where you can reap it. Like you only give to places that you know will bring you more funds. You only give to places that you know will bring you interest. But any other thing apart from that, I can't do it. It's a bad financial move and everything. These are things that can be idols in your life. Basically, idols are things that it's not necessarily you hear them from God. It's not necessarily you saw it in a dream or anything. Do they contradict? Do they make you not obey the things in the Bible, the instructions that God has given us in this His holy book? These things make you want to disobey God, make you want to contradict Him, make you not want to follow what He has said we should do in His Word. You place those things above the instructions in His Bible. If you do, they are idols in your life. Anything that you can place above what God says you should do, that will give you great struggle and great stress to want to follow the instruction of God. Those are things that you might be worshiping. Those are things that can be idols in your life, right? And finally, another thing that can be an idol in your life is your phone. The organla, the biggest boss. Your phone, the internet, Google. All this Google news. These are things that can be idols in your life. Now, I'm not saying that it's bad to use these things. I'm not saying that these are things that are terrible. I mean, everybody uses Google. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But the moment you follow them, the moment you run to them first, the moment is whatever they say or whatever you hear or whatever thing is happening can be placed above God. They become idols. Some of you, like in the Bible tells us about how Paul was God said you should go to Jerusalem, but everybody around him was saying, don't go to Jerusalem, this and that, they will kill you. They had visions, they had everything. That Paul, when you get there, you already have bad reports of you, blah 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 blah. But Paul said no. Paul remained focused. He remained focused. He said that Jerusalem, as long as God said I should go, I will go. Now, those people were just saying it because they were trying to discredit God or because they're trying to disobey God. No, they really cared for Paul. They're like, Paul, don't go. You go die. But then Paul said, no, God said I should go, so I'm going to go. These people, if Paul listened, he would have disobeyed God. He would have placed them at that point in his life above God. Let's say Paul had an habit of continually listening to people around him, had an habit of continually going to them first instead of God first. Didn't have a relationship with God that these people served as idols in his life. He wouldn't have listened to God first. He would, like, in that kind of situation where it was life or death, I kid you not, he would have picked them over God. Why? Because they were already idols in his life. No, Paul already had a relationship with God. God already took over everything. There was no space or room for all these small people to be taken over in his life. So he could, when it came to the rough, when it came to the thick of it, he could pick God above all these things. So I'm not saying no, going to advise people is not bad. Sorry, going to ask for advice from people is not bad. Going to having a mentor, having a pastor, having people that you speak to, commune with, having checking Google is not bad. All those things, they're not bad. But the moment you put them above God, it's bad. Those are the idols in your life. You have placed it above God, then you are serving them, you are worshiping them. I checked online, Google, like I said, not bad. And it says idol worshiping can look like trusting, obeying, following, reverencing. You know, that's what idol worshiping can look like. When you obey those things above God, when you trust them above God, when you follow them above God, when you reverence them more than God, those things can look like idol worshiping. Some of you, because of the news, what you hear, let's say many a times is what you hear on the news, is what you are more inclined to listen or follow more than God. When God is telling you to go somewhere, do some things for Him and everything, you'll be able to do it. Why? These things were already there. They're already idols. They're already existing. Are you getting what I'm saying? So yes, this is how idol worshiping can look like. Book of Romans, it tells us in the book of Romans that it is foolish. Idol worshiping is just being foolish, right? It's just being foolish. And in conclusion, we're going to read the book of First Corinthians, chapter 10. First Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 14. Therefore, my beloved, flee from idolatry. I really like the Bible so much because the Bible is specific. There are some things the Bible says we will wrestle, but then there are some things it says flee. Like flee sexual immorality. The Bible says flee from all form of idolatry. So you might ask, Annie, how do I flee from idolatry? Basically, to flee from idolatry is to run to God. To run away from idolatry is by running to God, and it happens with like the little decisions. When you have situations like that, where you have God telling you something, where you have God's instructions, when you have God's guidance and everything, when you have God's word, and whatever it is that people are saying, whatever it is the news is saying, the media is saying, the trends are saying, your boss is saying, and you have a decision to pick between the two. Always pick God. That is the way to flee from idolatry, by always speaking God every time. It might seem crazy, it might seem stupid, it might seem, I don't know, but every time you pick God, that's how you flee from idolatry. It's not something you want to wrestle. Why? Because it's something that is so, like I said before, it's so subtle. You won't even know, because before you know it, you start getting familiar with them or it. You keep running over to it, and before you know, you don't even include God anymore. Like I said, with idolatry is like by trusting, obeying, following. So every time you pick God, every time you trust Him, every time you obey Him, every time you follow Him, no matter how it looks, no matter what the world says, that is what you should always do. That is how you can flee from idolatry. So we have come to the end of today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot. I hope it was impactful in any way. So please try to leave a comment, try to leave a like, a share, a follow, I don't know, try to subscribe, and everything. So in case you didn't know, we have a TikTok account, we have an Instagram account, we're also on Facebook. So you can check us out on any of all those platforms. I can't remember the username right now, so I will put it in the description thingy below. So do try to follow us, and I don't know, all the other things that human beings do to these kind of pages. So please do that. Thank you so much. I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye.
Couch conversations, conversations, couch conversations, conversations.